Hi everybody, thanks for coming back to the channel. I'm just about to start a new build. I haven't built anything in quite some time, but decided to do a winter project this year. So I went ahead and purchased this kit from Banggood, and it's a Skyhunter 1800. And to be pretty honest, I'm quite impressed with everything I'm seeing in this kit so far. It's very nice indeed, quite a comprehensive kit. So I decided really to just start with a tail, not for any particular reason. So I already made a start actually with a tail. There's a little bit of the tail unit. Obviously at some point Sonic Model, who are the makers of this particular kit, had some complaints about the elevator being not stiff enough. So in this kit that I've just recently got, they've included some extra pieces of carbon. As you can see, there's a carbon spar on the horizontal surface, but there's also now a carbon spar on the elevator, which is a 2mm square piece of carbon. That carbon is fitted into there. That it had to be cut out. The cutout wasn't there for it. It had to be made. There was a notation in the manual telling you that it was there for that purpose, and you needed to make the cut yourself. So that's what I've done, and I made the cut below the servo horn there, as you can see. And that is actually quite stiff as it stands. They also give another two pieces, which I've used on the vertical stabilizers. Those are the three pieces of carbon that were extra in the kit. You can see the two pieces in the vertical stab and the one piece in the elevator. And again, in the vertical stab, I had to make the cutouts for to put the carbon in. And that stiffened things up considerably. So I'm going to fly with it. I was initially going to change this out for balsa, but the elevator for balsa. But I'm going to try it and see how it goes, because it does seem quite stiff with that carbon in there. So the other thing I decided to do was I flipped around the servo. I read quite a bit about the the servo horn being on the bottom, it getting ripped off during landing. So I'm using Emax, I forget the number, 08 MA servos, and this is what I'd come up with, this sort of arrangement here. It's just jury rigged up at the minute. That's just a temporary link up. That's not going to be the final link up. The final link up will be made with metal clips and push rods. But you can see exactly what I've done here. I brought the servo. There's a long servo horn that comes with that servo. So I brought that through the top and brought the servo horn to the top of the control surface. And it seems to work very well indeed. So quite happy with that. It gets the horn away from underneath the surface. So as I say, the kit's a very, very nice kit. Massive, absolutely massive fuselage. I can get my whole arm actually into that fuselage, which will be great for installing all the electronics. This is going to be a full FPV build, long range FPV build. That's the other half of the fuse, obviously there. And the wings, which are a 9.5-inch cord. Nice big wing. Finish on the foam's very nice indeed. Very nice. Of course, the other wing. And lots and lots and lots of carbon. Carbon spars for everything. Wood braces for inside. And the canopy there too. So going to be a nice build. Looking forward to doing it. We'll just continue on and see where we get to. So most of the components now have arrived for the build. And most of this, to be honest, was ordered from Banggood. So things progressing along nicely here. It's a 600 milliwatt VTX, 5.8 gigahertz, Foxia Monster Micro Pro camera. I'm going to be using those Emax ES08 MA digital Metal Gear servos. Well, I'm not sure if they're digital actually, maybe analog. Hobbywing Skywalker 60 amp AC. Sunny Sky 2820 1100 kV motor. A couple of props to play with, probably settled on 11.7, but thought we'd have a play with a 12x6 and also 11.55. Servo connectors, hinges, various cables and wires and stuff for the build. This build gets lots of 3D printed parts. Started printing out the parts already. That's the 3D printer working now. Just designed those brackets of plates up a little bit earlier on the CAD program. Those are going to be for the extra support under the servo horns, both sides. Some other stuff I printed out here, bits and pieces for mounting hardware, receivers, APMs, power modules, camera equipment, pan and tilt mount, thumb holes for launching, and some strengthening pieces for the tail. Those will go in the corner like that. There's two sets because there's a friend of mine building the same model at the same time, so I'm printing two of everything out, but those will give extra support to the tail once they're glued in place. Lots of 3D printing. So I've kind of decided on the colour. That's the paint job. This Skyhunter is going to be silver on the top, as you can see from the tail plane. I've pretty much got that complete now. The elevator has been tape hinged to the horizontal surface, and the two vertical stabilizers are ready to be just stuck on the end there. Still that servos just jury rigged up. Underneath is black, as the underneath of the aircraft will be black. And it's looking pretty good. So that's where we are so far. And a completed tail assembly. Looking okay actually. That's the bottom. Black taped. The servo ready to extend. 3D printed strengtheners in the corner. And this whole assembly is nice and stiff. It's pretty good actually. Turned out quite well. And those strengthened pieces will keep those, or help keep those vertical sections nice and square and nice and vertical. Quite pleased with that. Here's the completed painted parts. Each component had about either 2 or 3 coats of silver, and then each component had 3 coats of clear, so be able to put all these parts aside now for a while, let everything dry completely. Seems to be looking okay actually. So the fuselage is going to turn out. The wings, and the tail. Nothing yet done with the undersides. Those are going to be black and taped, I think, black packaging tape. Same as my Skywalker, which gives them quite a bit of strength and doesn't add much weight at all. So I made a start on the underside of the wings. First thing really I wanted to do was to strengthen the ailerons. So I used some aluminium tape that I have and applied that to the bottom side of the aileron surfaces. As you can see, that stiffens them up considerably. I've done the same on the elevator. The elevator has done both sides, but the ailerons I've just done one side because they're substantially thicker than what the elevator one is. The control horns have been fitted, 3D printed plates out, just to give them a little bit extra purchase into the foam, and they're bolted and screwed through, and nuts, nylock nuts on the underside, so they ain't going nowhere. So I then went ahead and populated the left wing, and that's pretty much near completion. So the UHF dipole there, at the top of the UHF dipole out on the tip of the wing. The boom mounts now in the wing. I'll just flip this over. There's the underside. You had to be taped bottom half of the UHF dipole. 12-gram Emax metal gear servos and stainless steel clevises and push rod, and it's ready to be joined to the other half of the wing after it's taped.